Hi, I'm Stephen Kelly and I'm joined in our makeshift studio by Mr. Simon Barber. Simon, thank you for joining us.
No worries.
Today we're going to be looking at the England game and reviewing how we may fare against Uruguay and how we've done so far. So, in terms of how England have done so far, how do you think they fared against Italy?
Well, I know everyone's been saying that it was a good performance and they're really encouraged by the way we played football. I would agree with that. I think we made a couple of wrong choices.
In what area?
Well, I would say the three players that we played behind Sturridge. I think Sturridge picks himself. I think the rest of the team does. And I think it's the three other players that are the players you could move around. I would say the wrong decision came by picking both Sterling and Welbeck. I think we need another player that can pass the ball basically. If Gerrard's going to play in that hole, then when the ball comes up into the final third, I didn't see anyone that was going to play that killer pass in through the Sturridge to get him to score. There was a lot of running around with the ball, a lot of dribbling, and for me, Sterling lost the ball too many times.
Right, okay.
I think it's a bit too much of a luxury. Against Italy, definitely.
Right, okay. But do you not think he had a lot of cut and thrust?
I do.
So it showed promise?
Yeah, I do, definitely. And I think that would benefit us with him coming on and making an impact with 20-30 minutes to go.
That's what I did think initially. I think he started brightly, I think he did very well, but I did think, especially in that humidity and the heat they were having to play with, I thought when the Italian defenders, as they're a little bit older as well, so they're getting a little bit later into the game and wearing out,
Exactly
then bring
right.
on someone with fresh legs with that
Bring
sort of
on
pace.
players like him, players like Barkley. I think what we missed was probably someone like Lallana up front, up the top with two of the other three. Because he can play a ball, he can dribble, he will take players on, but he's
Coming from a Southampton fan, he's going to be a little bit biased.
Yeah, but what everybody's been saying the whole season, Lallana has played himself into the England 11, not into the England squad, played himself into the England 11, and I would have to agree with that. Not just because I'm a Southampton fan, but because I think he genuinely has done well enough.
Interestingly, I don't know if you saw, but Hoddle put him in his team to face Uruguay yesterday.
He
but
put him in
deeper
instead
still, alongside Henderson. Alongside Gerrard instead of Henderson.
Which I think is an interesting point actually.
So, with regards to tonight's team choice, who would you go with?
So I would have Welbeck out or Sterling out and put Lallana in basically. I would stick with the formation that we've been playing. I'd have our two holding players and the three at the top. I think we might need that against Uruguay because their threat is offensive. They've got good strikers, three really, and they're only going to play two, which is a bit of a worry. And if we can prevent them from scoring, I think we've got enough on the response to get a result.
I think we've got good options. I think we've got good options on the bench as well. I think it's one of the best, most attacking England teams we've seen for a long time.
I think it's. I think Steven Gerrard said the other day it's one of the first England squads where the first 11 doesn't necessarily straight away pick itself, and there is probably another sort of 5 or 6 players in the squad that in previous tournaments could have gotten into the side. And yeah, I agree. I think we've got a really good bench and quite a dangerous bench actually. Especially when Chamberlain's fit, or Barkley can come.
I was going to say, we've not even mentioned Barkley yet. It looked very impressive in warm-up games, isn't it? I thought he did a good job against Italy when he came on as well.
Very much so, yeah. I think in that last warm-up game, the one where Chamberlain got injured, I thought he was our best player. Him and Chamberlain, I thought were fantastic. It was the second to last one, wasn't it, when we played the
Peru?
Yeah, when we played the experimental squad. But yeah, I thought he looked really bright, and I think he's dangerous coming off the bench.
He's just very strong and direct, and
absolutely, he
seems to really go at teams.
Proper solid player, like what Wayne Rooney used to be like when he first, broke out, started playing for United. Yeah, really exciting basically. I also thought actually against Italy we could have brought Lambert on and changed it up, played a different type of football. And maybe that'll happen tonight if we're getting unstuck
He gives us a very different option. I feel like he might be a bit more physical for the Uruguay defenders, because they're quite physical defenders, aren't they?
And I know it's not modern football to play the sort of, but when you've got players like Henderson and Gerrard that far back in the hole that can put an accurate ball through, he will be on the end of it, and he's good enough.
He's like an old school English centre forward.
He is,
isn't he?
yeah. He's like what everyone wanted Andy Carroll to be,
Yeah.
and then he never was. But he's actually really good.
We've not really had anyone like that since Shearer, really.
No, and that's another option to totally change up the way that you play football, and it's a good option to have, especially later on in the game.
And how do you think England will fare, just looking ahead a little bit, how do you think England will fare against Costa Rica? Because they looked very bright against Uruguay. I think Uruguay didn't show up as dangerously as they could this evening. Costa Rica looked good.
They did, they had a good game. I think Uruguay probably had a bad game, which is what allowed them to win. We haven't seen much of that in this World Cup, I don't think. I don't think teams have been necessarily losing games. There have been teams actually taking them by the scruff of the neck and winning matches. I thought Chile won their match against Spain last night, or whatever that was. So yeah, it's nice to see that, and Costa Rica played well, but I think that was one of the few occasions where Uruguay didn't play very well.
And finally, for tonight's game, what's your prediction going to be for the score?
I'm tempted to go down the Thierry Henry route and not predict the game until after it's happened. But you've got to fancy us to win. I mean, we've got to win. Wayne Rooney's got to turn up. So I've got to go.
Would you leave Rooney out? Is that a thing that could or would or should happen?
It's very hard to leave a player like Wayne Rooney out of the England side. I think if you were going to leave him out as a statement of intent and to sort of put it up him a bit, then I'd have probably done it already by now. He's got to prove himself tonight, otherwise
He might not start against Costa Rica, do you think? Potentially.
it won't matter then. So he definitely,
Well,
I would say he definitely won't start against Costa Rica if he doesn't turn up tonight. I think he will play 45 minutes tonight, and if he doesn't play hard, if I were the manager, I'd have him off. But fingers crossed, if he turns up, if he plays properly, if he plays well, if he gives everything that he can, I fancy Sturridge always to score. I think he's a great goal scorer. He knows where the net is.
Very bright so far, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's just a very, very good player. Yeah, I've got to go with us. I've got to say we'll win 2-1.
Fingers crossed.
It's been a pleasure having Simon Barber in the studio.